Hi everybody, Recovery Dude here, and I have another thought and concept that I would like to share with you all. Things that have helped me with my recovery, I like to share with all of you, and hopefully you can get some help with it as well. And so one thing I've learned through my recovery process that helps me, I'm a very scientifically minded guy. I like numbers, I like science. So when I can put science behind something, it tends to make it a little bit easier for me. And so it has been scientifically proven that active addiction, active alcoholism, affects the social reward center of your brain. So when I'm active in my addiction, the social reward center of my brain is getting everything that it needs. Now that makes a lot of sense to me, because I don't know if you guys use like I did, but when I was using, I didn't feel the need to be around other people. Sure, it made me more of a social butterfly, but I didn't feel the need to be around anybody. I would just drink and be happy sitting around staring at a wall. I didn't need anybody else there. And it makes a lot of sense when I think about that what I have to do now, my brain is not getting all of that social reward because I'm not filling it with a chemical. So there's a big hole in my brain and it's asking for what it needs. It says, oh, I've had this social reward for so long, and now I need to fill that. So I hear a lot of people in the program saying that loneliness is one of the hardest things to deal with in sobriety. And that makes a lot of sense to me. Because if you're not giving your brain what it's used to having that social reward. I have to get out and I have to see people. I have to socialize. And that's a big reason that AA is so helpful. Not only am I getting out and I'm socializing with people that get me. People that understand exactly where I'm coming from. It's funny that I can go into an AA meeting that I have never been to before. Never met any of these people before in my life. And I already have a connection with those people. They know what my life has been, especially during my active addiction. So it's really nice to be able to go in and have that jumping off block. Hey, I already know where you've come from. Your history probably looks a lot like mine. So another way that I can solidify this for me is when I used to think about, okay, well, when did I become an alcoholic? How? Why? The hows and whys don't matter, but the when was kind of interesting for me. So I went through 6 years of college, and I never really had an issue with drinking in college. There may have been times where I drank a little too much, and there may have been weeks where I had a little bit each day, but it wasn't a continual thing. My life wasn't revolving around drinking. It just happened from time to time. And I think back to my college days, and I was so socially busy in college. I was always doing something. I was involved in so many different groups that I really didn't have time to drink. So it was a night thing, it was maybe a weekend thing, but I was just always so busy. And then I thought about it. I graduated from college, got a job, and now I'm like, okay, I don't have all these groups that I'm part of anymore. I'm not involved in all these sports or extracurriculars. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? What happened? It was a complete and total change almost overnight. I went from everything I've known for the last 6 years to now I have to change everything. And my drinking, that was only problematic at periods in college, became a complete and total problem and liability to me after I graduated. And my first job was selling cars. For those of you out there that do sell cars, I appreciate you, and I also feel for you. It can be a very soul-sucking job, because everybody that comes onto the lot doesn't like you right off the bat, even though you're a decent person. I don't know. That's just my thought. But, you know, I wasn't working in my career field, and I was feeling bad for myself. I was feeling down, and I don't know where along the line I decided that drinking was my solution. But it did dissolve a lot of things. So, yes, it is a solution, but it dissolves the things you don't want to dissolve: relationships, friendships, jobs. And I'll tell you what, I was just saying this yesterday. My life may have gone, or probably would have gone, a completely different direction should I have not started drinking alcoholically. Now, I did make some good decisions during my drinking, but I also made a lot of bad ones. And that first job that I had coming out of college, I definitely did not do my best. Not at all. I could have done so much better. But I just decided I'm going to move into a career field where, I can drink the way I want to and it won't get in my way. And I was starting to get back into a more social field. So I was getting back in and working with a lot of people, starting to get back to some of the things I had done in college. And for a period, my drinking decreased. It hadn't really gotten to that point where I couldn't come back. I hadn't crossed that line of point of no return. And so for a while there, I was not drinking alcoholically. I was drinking, and I was drinking more than the average person, but it hadn't become a major problem. I again job hopped, moved, got out of the things that I was getting back into. I wasn't doing the extracurriculars that I started to get back into. I lost that social part of my life. My drinking started to accelerate again. So when I look at my history and I say, where were my biggest drinking problems happening? It's when I gave up those socially rewarding things that I liked to do. And it's been a problem for me. I'm trying these days to try to get back into some of those things. Some of them, I don't really know how to get back into them the way I would like to. But there are some other things that I can try. But I fully believe the key to me is staying socially active. I'm socially active in AA. I'm socially active at the gym. I'm socially active in my job. And I also, I did volunteer at the local animal shelter for a little while. I did find out it wasn't necessarily for me, but I tried it. There wasn't enough social reward for me in it. Now it's cool to work with animals and all, but I didn't get to work with enough people. And that's where I find I get the most reward is when I work with other people. So for me, I'm starting to identify that working with people is giving me the best social reward and really what I need to focus on. So that social reward section, okay, my brain is being socially rewarded while I'm active in my addiction. It makes sense that I need to replace that in my life without using a substance. So my challenge to you, think about the things that you used to do that were socially rewarding. Try to get back to some of those things. The more you can add back into your life, I feel that the the urge to drink won't come as often. I've noticed that personally. The more socially active I am, the less that urge to drink sets in on me. And it's the times where I'm sitting around, I'm not really being engaged, I'm not being socially active, that thought process of drinking hits me like a freight train. Well, my solution to that typically is try to find something socially rewarding to get my mind off of it. And sometimes that's as easy as picking up the phone. It's not, I like to be in a group of a lot of people. Well, a one-on-one phone conversation is not that kind of social event, but it is enough to get my thought process out of myself. It is social enough that I can stop thinking about myself for a minute. So try to challenge yourself and sit down and just jot down everything that you have done in your life that you felt was socially rewarding. Now, you may be an introvert. I am absolutely not an introvert. But if you happen to fall into that, I'm an introvert and I don't really like being around people. Challenge yourself to get into smaller groups. Find something that doesn't have that many people. But the key is there should be some other people there. If you practice it, it will get easier. And my fiance is an introvert and she tells me all the time, it's not that she can't be social. It's that when she gets into social situations, it tends to wear her down. Now, I'm the exact opposite. When I'm in social situations, it actually builds me up, and I keep going on that route. So I tend to really, really like social interaction. But practice makes perfect. Try it. Even with the AA meetings, there are big meetings. And I'll tell you, even from a social butterfly, I don't like the meetings with 150 plus people. I can't get to know anybody. There's just too many people. So I actually choose meetings that are a little bit smaller. Most of the meetings I go to have 30 or less people. And I like that. That tends to be the group size that works best for me. So find those meetings that you click with. And I know right away, when I'm choosing a home group, when I go in, I know almost immediately. Sometimes not immediately. It may take a meeting or two, but I usually figure out, hey, this is the best meeting for me because it makes me feel better. Why do I feel better when I leave a meeting? It's the social reward that my brain so desperately needs. Try it out. Let me know how it works for you. Thank you.